team. Fresh off a sweep of Western Kentucky, Scott Berry, the head baseball coach at Southern Miss, joins us right now. And, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Forgive the rhetorical question, but going 7-1 after that sweep to Dallas Baptist has got to feel pretty good, right?
Well, it does. I think our guys responded to that disappointing weekend and have really turned the corner for us and played really good baseball since then.
So, looking at this weekend, kind of a unique thing happened to you guys. It doesn't happen very much, at least from my vantage point. You gave up some runs on Friday night, and the Bats came alive, and you win that Friday game despite giving up 8 runs, committing 4 errors as a team. What did you learn about your guys on Friday night?
Well, just to finish it strong. At one point we were up well and going into the 8th inning. I think it was 8-1, and then Western Kentucky, man, it was like somebody lit a Roman candle, and they were like lasers going everywhere just came out of nowhere. But going into it, Michael, we knew that their offensive numbers indicated that they were capable of doing that. Just Tanner Hall had been really dominant up to that inning and only given up 1 run and very few hits, but the 8th inning turned really quickly, and but we were lucky to get out of the bullpen, and Landon Harper came in and did a great job and got his 3rd save that night and preserving that win 10-8.
Speaking of Tanner Hall, what kind of adjustment is it for a pitcher going from midweek starts? Now, his midweek starts just so happen to be against Mississippi State and a ranked at the time Tulane team, but going from that midweek role to leading off a conference series, what kind of a transition is that like for a pitcher?
Well, for Tanner, it really wasn't that big of an adjustment. I think the competitor that he is, and just his mindset of going out and taking the mound, and he'll tell you straight up, whatever role, whatever you want me to play, I'll do it, and I'll do it the best I can. But he was certainly groomed as that midweek starter in anticipation that once we got into conference play that we could bump him on up to that weekend, and he's handled it well.
And then you move over to Saturday where your team has 21 hits. Not a typo, at least I don't think. 21 hits on Saturday. We talked to somebody you're familiar with, Luke Johnson, on Friday, and we had the conversation that sometimes this team is just going to have to win low-scoring games, and suddenly this weekend the Bats really drove the pace here.
Well, they did. I'll tell you, it was certainly a hitter-friendly environment there. The wind was blowing out. Even though it was pretty chilly, it still, the wind was blowing from right to left field. And our guys took advantage of it. I thought they did a really good job of laying off pitches out of the zone and really putting good swings on pitches and getting in the counts that were their advantage. But, the thing that impressed me, in all honesty, was just our pitching staff. Under those hitter-friendly games and days that we saw, our pitchers were able to keep Western Kentucky off the scoreboard. On that particular day, on Saturday, we only gave up 2 runs, and then on just 3 hits, and then of course the next day was a shutout. So both were hitter-friendly days, and our guys really responded on the mound and kept those zeros on the board for us.
Coach, looking at this week, no midweek games. When you're coming off of a sweep like this and you feel like you've got some momentum, are you happy to get some rest, or would you like to keep playing ahead of this massive series this weekend?
Honestly, I would really rather be playing. I wish we had a midweek game, but putting this schedule together back a year or 2, and I think there was a cancellation in here that caused this, and never could find somebody to fill that spot. We just had to roll with it where there's no game. So we've come off a long trip to Bowling Green, but we're taking today off. We'll go back on the field and start working tomorrow. Certainly, I wish we had a game to play, but we don't. And that's what we'll deal with. But we have a real strong Louisiana Tech team coming in for this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about that series because, down there in Hattiesburg, assuming the weather that we've had this past weekend, you can have it again, should be massive crowds down there, great atmosphere. You two teams have had wars over the past couple of years. Give us a look ahead to this series and how you think it's going to play out for your team.
Well, they're both very similar. I feel like they return a lot of their hitters from last year, as we do, and they return a lot of arms, and they're quality arms. They're playing really good right now. They're 18-6. They're same as us in the conference, 5-1. They've had a couple of really big wins over LSU, both at home and in Baton Rouge. So, Coach Burrs is a personal friend of mine, a guy that I coached in junior college and then coached with here at Southern Miss. So we're really good friends, and he'll have them ready to go. So, but they do have a very strong team. Ought to be a great series.
Visiting with Scott Berry on the Farm Bureau phone line, head baseball coach at Southern Miss. On the scheduling front, I've got a question that honestly just popped in my head here when you were talking about making the schedule. How difficult is that? Have you ever, called whoever you need to call to set this up and been just told no? Like, no, coach, we will not play you for whatever reason. Does that happen often?
Not often, really. I mean, it's just trying to put it all together with what they have to do, where they're going to be going. They may have to fly out that week, so a lot of things have to fall in place. And then don't think that things don't change after you already have them on paper. Where they have to move a game. So scheduling is one of the toughest jobs that we have as far as coaches. I feel like in baseball is just trying to make all those pieces work. But there are sometimes that teams will just say, no, we don't really have an interest, but not very often.
I have a friend that actually just submitted a question for you. So
okay.
Before games, obviously baseball is a little bit different than football because of the sheer volume of games that you play, but he wants to know if you're a big pregame speech guy. Do you give like a pump-up speech before every game or before a series or what? Like, what's your message and how do you approach the final talk you have with your guys all together before they take the field and play in a game? What's your style there?
Well, from the opening game of the season, I tell our guys that this isn't football. We don't have 6 days in between the time we play. We play 56 games and don't expect 56 motivational speeches coming at you. At some point, the game motivates you to go out there and play. And the one thing that we really just stress in those pregame meetings before we do our prayer is just the standard that we've set for our program and how we want to play and what how we're accountable to each other in that play. So we just try to really just try to stay even keel. I'm big about that, not riding highs and not riding lows, and understanding what it takes to go out and win baseball games, and just reiterating the importance of that and our attention and focus and commitment to that game.
And last thing for you, Coach, before we let you go, obviously big weekend coming up, and then you've got a midweek with Ole Miss a week later. Is the chance to get ranked, is that even a thing that you guys talk about at all? I imagine you guys are on the precipice of that, and with the strong weekend, it'll get there. Is that even something that you allow yourself or your players, to the best of your ability, to even look at or consider?
No, not really. I really don't. I think that's kind of more for the fans, in all honesty, because our approach here is the most important game on the schedule is the one that we're fixing to play. And sometimes it's going to be one of those opponents that, builds your RPI. Sometimes it's one of those opponents that's not going to help your RPI. But at the end of the day, it's a game that you have to win regardless, and that's what we need to focus on. And so we don't talk much about that. We just talk about going out and competing and doing everything that we can to win that baseball game, and making sure that we're focused on doing that.
And Scott Berry, head coach of Southern Miss. Coach, congratulations on the good week, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the big environment that you'll have this